Howdy, I'm Grey Pilgrim. Well, today, this is sort of a rant video, a little bit of a rant, but this is a Spiller and Burr, one of the developments of the South during the Civil War, for a pistol for them to use. It's based on the Whitneyville, and it's a pretty good pistol. And this one was probably the most numerous built pistol of the Civil War in the South. So Griswold and Gunnison. By the way, these are both facsimiles. I do not have any originals of these. Can't afford them. But for an example, this is the kind of rounds it shot. Conicals or ball in 36 caliber. Both of them shoot 36 caliber. Oh, and this is a Civil War bugle, and considering I'm wearing a bugle a bugler's hat, it fits. Anyway, and this is a book by Fuller and Stewart called Firearms the Confederacy. And it's a beautiful book. This is the NRA's Classics Library, and it has all the statistics on all of these things that were made. So it's a really good book. If you're interested in the subject, I would suggest buying it. Griswold comes to mind for two reasons. One, Samuel Griswold was from Connecticut. He was an industrialist, and he had moved down to Georgia and found a cotton, well, actually I think it was a flour mill, and bought it, and then turned it into an industrial site where he started making cotton gins for the South. And here was Griswold with his cotton gins, and then along comes the Confederate secession, and what we call the Civil War, what they call the war against Northern aggression. And so he started churning out these pistols. Well, first he was churning out swords and pikes and stuff, and then he started turning out these revolvers. This is a copy in brass of the 1851 Colt. The Confederates weren't exactly worried about copyright laws at that point, or patents. Well, the reason it's kind of fortuitous or strange is many years later, there was a Supreme Court case called Griswold versus Connecticut. One of his ancestors, or one of his descendants, I think. Anyway, what it was about was reproductive rights, the right to basically use things like the pill or condoms to stop pregnancy, because Connecticut had the Comstock laws, which said thou shalt not. And somebody broke that law and took it up the courts until it got to the Supreme Court, and they said, nope, he's right, you can do that. Well, that came to mind because today I was watching a Tim Pool show, and they mentioned on there that Target right now carries an insemination kit in their stores for artificially doing the nasty so that you can have babies. This is so that single moms, read that lesbians, can have a baby if they want. Just weird coincidental thing. Well, I don't really have a stance on that. The way it looks, my stance on the whole thing is, I promise I will never have an abortion. And I've always kept my promise on that one. Whatever you want to do, you do. It's just, I think that it's kind of stupid to stop having babies because, well, is it Gen Z, I think, is the one or is it or millennials? I guess it's millennials. They're seriously short on people for the millennials, and the next generation completely short on. So we're basically sterilizing ourselves into extinction. That's the way I look at it. We ought to have babies, lots of babies. I'm really hoping my son will and his wife will come to that conclusion soon, and I'll be a granddaddy. Well, one can dream. Anyway, on other subjects, the world has gone into chaos and crazies. One thing I did hear is the FBI just announced that today, or as of this month, there's over 500 million firearms in civilian hands. I think that figure is a wee bit low. Wee bit low. I know I own quite a few. And I know other folks like me who also own quite a few. And on YouTube, you can find a whole bunch of folks who own quite a few. And if you wanted to buy one, well, go buy one. It's your right as an American. I'm sorry, but it is your right. It really is. In spite of wherever you live, whatever state has communist ideas about that. Well, I just think that owning a firearm is your right, and anyone who wants to take it from you, well, that's what we fought the Revolutionary War over. People forget that the whole purpose behind Concord and Lexington was Paul Revere saying that the British are coming. Well, why were they coming? To take away the guns. The whole thing was about gun control. It really was. And they forget about that. Well, we're learning right now. I mean, look at Ukraine. They had very strict gun control laws until they got invaded. And then they started standing on the streets in front of the armory and just saying, hey, citizen, here, have an AK-47. Here, you have an AK-47. Everybody has an AK-47 just so they can fight the Russians when they come in. They just sort of forgot about that at the minute they needed it. Same in Israel. Israel starts this thing with Hamas, and, well, they had rules that you could only have like 50 rounds of ammo and a single pistol. Well, how about people who needed a rifle? Well, that's nowadays they've sort of ended that, and anybody who's an Israeli citizen is allowed to be armed to the teeth. Well, just don't start those stupid laws to begin with, and you don't have a problem. I may be dumb, but I ain't stupid. Anyway, I'm just. Oh, by the way, another thing I wanted to talk about was a few days ago. Actually, about a week or so ago, I did a video about my converted French pinfire. I did it basically because Odysee over at Sea and Arsenal asked me to give him some more information about mine, because it looks exactly like one he had that it didn't have a firing pin, or I forget, it was dysfunctional, but it was quite pretty. Mine has been converted to center fire and is functional. I know because I made shells for it. It's 44 caliber. You take a 44 special, you cut it about a few millimeters shorter, then load it with black powder and put a 44 ball in it and shoot it, and it works. Use black powder. It's from the 1870s, I think, or 1850s. You don't want to do a smokeless powder in one of those. Anyway, I guess because I said the word Odysee, or because Odysee may have mentioned it himself on his Discord server. I don't know if it was because he talked to me on the Discord server. That's how I knew he wanted some information. And suddenly, well, before I put that video out, I had about 940 some odd subscribers. As of today, I have 974. So I got about 30 subscribers out of one video. Oh, and this video went for me and my little puny channel became viral. I mean, I got 2,000 views on it. I mean, that's like my second greatest success doing gun videos, I think. One was on I've got a, no, wait, is it up there? No, it's over there somewhere. I have this homemade black powder 36 caliber target pistol. I didn't make it. I fixed it. I didn't make it, but I had to fix the sear on it to make it actually work. And the problem is there's no manual, no guide, nothing to say how big it is. So I ended up making about a dozen of them before I got it exactly the right size. Never again. But I got it in the end, and it works like a champ now. Before it was, you'd cock it and it'd fire on its own. It was a dangerous gun. Well, I fixed that. Anyway, I just thought it was kind of cool that Odysee gave me 30 subscribers. Thank you, sir. You know, that was great. To me, it's great. I'm trying to make 1,000. Just not that I want to get monetized. I'm not interested in getting monetized. I will not monetize. I believe, like Carl Casada, I think is his name, is on In Range TV on his channel. No, I don't believe in getting monetized and being, you know, having all these commercials all over your video. Matter of fact, use an ad blocker. Do use an ad blocker. You know, use a more sophisticated one so YouTube doesn't turn you off. But use an ad blocker. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Just my opinion. Anyway, the world is going to chaos. We've got 2 wars going on out there, and because of that, and because Bidet is our president, what did we ever do to deserve that? You know, we looked away while they stuffed the ballot boxes. That's what we got out of that. Anyway, because of that, they've cut off Lake City Arsenal from making civilian ammo. Other ammos are in short supply. The civilian ammo manufacturers are mainly selling to Europe. The European manufacturers, under the mandate of their governments, are also making them for their armies. And the few that are not being used by Army are being used by our federal agencies. I mean, after all, Fish and Game, IRS, and I don't know, maybe the National Screwtape Commission all have their own armed agencies. Can you just imagine IRS, fat accountants with a AR? You know, why? Why? Because you're not paying your taxes, and we need to gouge you for more at the point of a gun. I think that's very reminiscent of redcoats. Just a thought. Anyway, I'm just a dumb hillbilly. I don't know nothing. But I do enjoy guns. These are black powder. These are not guns, according to the National Firearms Act and all of that stuff. Anything before 1898 ain't a gun. And this ain't a gun. This is from about 1852 or so. And it's a facsimile, but a facsimile is covered by that too. I do have a few, very few older guns, pinfires, 1 revolver, but they're not major names that you know about, and they're something I just enjoy playing with. You know, and collecting, and one day they'll be passed on, because the thing about collectors like me is, even if you have a relative that you leave them to, that relative is not going to be as interested as you are, and they'll probably put them up for auction. I mean, that's these big collections, they end up being broken up and dispersed again every time a collector dies. I think Rock Island Auction, no, it was Morpheus, just had a big sale. I was watching on, was it Classic Collectibles or whatever, Tom's channel about that, where he was betting on something, I forget what. But it's mainly, the guy mainly had American classics, but he had one, it was a Walther PPK. He had a PPK, and of course Tom is very into that. Anyway, so these collections, they get dispersed as soon as somebody dies. And that's good, I suppose, you know. Though it sure does drive the prices up. You know, the more you get on the market, for some reason, the more the price goes up. I don't understand that, you know. Used to be in the good old days that we had lots and lots of good surplus to buy. Nowadays, those surplus, they cost a whole lot more. Oh well, c'est la vie. Oh, that's about all I got to say about it. Happy trails.